G'day legends, welcome to the channel. For those of you that don't know us, we are Our Whittle Adventure. We've actually been travelling around Australia for the past 3 years. In that time, I never had spotties on the front of my trusty Landcruiser. My theory being was we were travelling with young kids. If we were travelling at night, something was seriously wrong. Just recently, we raced to the hospital at 2 AM to welcome another little boy into our family. And on the way, I said, God, I wish I had some spotties. So now that we're gearing up to hit the road again, Vic Off-Road have sent us some driving lights, spotties to test out and do a bit of review for you. So today I'm going to be installing them to the front of the car. I have had spotties in the past, about 4 years ago. So some of the stuff's already here, so hopefully it's a bit of an easy install for us. So let's get into it and we'll see how these look. Alright, so these are the 9-inch spotties, not the laser ones that they do. These are just the Osram, I think it's called. I'm not sure what that actually stands for. I should really look that up. But these have inbuilt daytime running lights as well. Cool little feature that I saw on the website was it comes with different coloured fascias to sort of suit your colour scheme. They come standard with orange, which you'll see when I pull them out eventually, yellow, black and grey. Being the fact that I've got a black and white Landcruiser, I think I'll probably just put the black ones on, but we'll see how the orange looks. Maybe a burst of colour is just what this car needs. I'm guessing that's for the mounts. Clear covers. I'm guessing there's other covers on them then. They've given us a bunch of wiring. I'm going to say that one with just a little plug is probably for the daytime running lights. This one's got the switch and relay, which is kind of handy. That's already wired into the relay and it's got little Deutsch plugs on it already. Wonder if I've got my Deutsch kit handy. Alright, we'll come back to that. We'll see how the wiring looks. Oh, jeez, these look hardcore. Yeah, that's nice. There you go. So these little prism looking shapes on the outside, they're actually the daytime running lights. So I was thinking about this earlier. I might actually wire them up off the driving lights rather than just running all the time, because if I'm going to have the dark covers on, it's going to prove kind of useless. Like, why burn out LEDs? I know LEDs take a long, last forever, but like, why have them running if you can't see them? So I might wire that off my driving light circuit. Maybe install another relay or something. I'll think about that. So yeah, there you go. Mounting kits, wiring harness, instructions. We'll get into this and see how we go from there. Yeah, I reckon they look clean. Let's go bolt these on the front first, eh? See how they look. Alright, let's see how these line up with my pre-existing holes. Alright. Well, what's good to know is the hole fits. Like that. Oh yeah, that looks cool. It's going to be great when I've got them lined up and adjusted. But yeah, that's cool. I'll sort of just temporarily bolt them in for now, and then I know sort of how to run the wiring. Like you can see, there's the Deutsch, the other end of the Deutsch connectors, and the little one for the daytime running lights. Like I thought. Easy. Let's get into it. Alright, this is the wiring diagram. So it's pretty straightforward. You've got your two cables coming out of the spotties. They go to the relay. White cable is going to go to the connector to the switch inside. Two cables go out to high beam, plus and minus, and you need your black to your battery, which I don't tend to do. I tend to go to the chassis of the car, and then 40 amp fuse to the positive of the battery. This is the part that's confusing. The daylight running lights just go to the fuse box. They don't sort of specify, so I think I will wire that off a relay or something instead of just coming on with ignition only come on when my lights are on, save them running all the time. But we'll tackle that bit last, I think. Let's just get these in. I've put the new switch on. Unfortunately my grips deteriorated it a little bit, so I might try and tidy that up, but the new switch is in. Plugs will go on the back, so I'm going to use the existing wires from the old switch as a draw wire to pull this through. So relay wire cable goes to the plug goes to the switch. So I'm going to disconnect the plug and run that cable through the firewall. There you go, old switch is off. That's the cable that's going through the engine bay. There's a pain in the butt to get to. I've owned this car for 12 years and I'm still finding stuff from the original owner, because I didn't install this release, the original owner did. I don't think he believed in cable ties, or whoever installed it on his behalf. They just wrapped it around the existing cabling in there. So I've untangled it all. It's a nice clear run, it moves freely through the firewall, so I'll go connect it to the other end and we'll pull it through. Before I get too carried away with that, I was just having a look. So that's going to go up here. That's really not a lot of length to get through the firewall. This connector would be right on the other side of the firewall. So before I get too carried away, let's go see if I can get the pins out of the other connector, and we'll just do it in reverse. So this end here, if I can get those pins out, we'll pass that one through the firewall, and then this connector can be in the cab instead, which would be better because it's not a waterproof connector. There you go, I managed to get one of them out. I reckon this will work. It's just going to take me a little while. I need a slightly smaller screwdriver. Finally, that took me 6.5 minutes. What I got there. And Bob's your uncle. Look at that, beautiful. Just took a little bit of gentle persuasion. So now I just got to put that connector back on, install the switch, and the rest of the work's out in the sun in the engine bay. So, facing this way, black in this one. Then red. And then white. Right, and on this, black was at the top, red in the middle, and yellow on the bottom. And there we go. So I've looped it around the front so I can follow this cabling that runs across here. The switch will go up and into position just here. And away we go. Cool. I'll pull a little bit of that slack through and we'll deal with this end. Alright, we're going to just recap where we're up to. We've mounted the spotties on the front just temporarily. I've installed the switch now. I had to make that hole bigger. Managed to get the switch cabling through the firewall. So the inside is essentially done, except I just need to loom the cable tie it up out of the way. For the side that's in the engine bay, I like to use split tubing or some sort of protection, so I'm just going to give it a length of this. The earth cable is much shorter, so I've got an earth point just here on the side of the engine bay, and then the white one runs to the relay, which I'm going to install on this bolt here, which is where the old one was, and the red one goes to the high beam circuit from what I understand, and then you've got your positive and negative of the relay as well. So the negative will come back to here or the one right next to it, and the positive just to there. Like I said, I do have this existing one. Whether I use that, not too sure yet. Might be nice to just run a nice new cable. Alright, let's put this split tubing on. This stuff, if you haven't used it before, you can get it from the likes of Bunnings, Supercheap, Repco, any of those sort of places. It's very handy stuff. Just helps protect the cables. Nearly everything in this car goes through it if I've installed it. Some of the older stuff doesn't, unfortunately, but it is an 18-year-old car. I've owned it for 12 of those years, so I'm not sure what he did back then. Alright, so there you go, split tubing all the way up to the relay. So I'll get my socket bits out, we'll install the negative or the ground to here. I'll double check where that one's got to go. It looks like it's supposed to go on a battery terminal, but it's not very big, so I might change that out and then find out where the rest go. Finally getting some breeze and a bit of shade. So according to the instructions, the black and the red that come from the switch need to go to high beam, positive and negative, which for some of you, if you were installing these, could probably just tap into the back of the stalk where you turn on your high beam. But I know I've got pre-existing cabling. Well, I'm 90% sure this is the old cabling from the old high beam. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put a Deutsch connector on here. I've actually got one. So just a 2-pin Deutsch weatherproof, which will sit down in this area here. I'm going to cut this red one back so it's the same length as the black one, and then I've got a length of pre-loomed 2 cores, 2 single cores, which I'm just going to make a length to go from here, as short as the black one is, over to here and just join them together. So Deutsch this end, and in the middle just those red automotive crimps. This just to join them together, and then I'll tape it up and hide it in here to sort of protect it, because it's not as weatherproof as the Deutschies are. So this will be this end. I'll join them together, run a nice cable around the back here, tap it into there, into a Deutsch kit, and then after that it's basically going to be just connected to the battery, and then we can test it out. They've pre-done this so that this would go to your battery as well. I've never taken anything from my negative to the battery before. I've always done it to the chassis of the car, so I think I'll do the same here, which will probably mean cutting it back and re-terminating it so that it can reach here. Yeah, I don't know. I've never done it to the battery. I don't know why. It's just everything's always been to the chassis of the car. That's Earth. So, I don't know. I'm going to cut this back. I'm going to terminate it, and we're almost done. And now it looks like I bought one. So now I just need enough length here to install my Deutsch kit onto there and bolt it all in. Check out my little helper. She's been under here the whole time. Hey Kiri Gill. Just chilling out under the car, hey? Such a hot day. Like I said, I'm getting a bit of shade now, which has worked out nicely for the last bit in the engine bay. So they just push until they click, and then you get the little piece that goes inside as well. Finally. Don't know why that was so difficult. There you go. That's that end of the Deutsch connected. I've got this to length. I don't actually know which way is which on the high beam circuit, but I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say red's positive, black's negative. I think that's a assumption to make. Best thing about Deutsch connectors is if it is the wrong way around, I can just come pull these pins back out and flip it. Being a high beam circuit, it shouldn't really do any damage. Beautiful. Okay, now I'll connect. I will loom this up, cable tied out of the way, bolt the relay to here, and tap in and give it power. We're almost at the end of the road, so I've loomed the cable all the way down to here. Relay is now installed. Still got to connect it to the battery, and then I'm just adding some split tubing to the cable that runs to the actual spotlights themselves. So I'm just putting that on now, just again to protect it a little bit, and then loom this through to the front, connect to the battery, and we should be able to test it. Even though I've not done the daytime running lights yet, we can at least test the spotties are working as expected. Should be good. This has been a pretty easy install, really. It's only been tricky because I'm trying to reuse some of the stuff I've already got. But if you were doing this from scratch and just following the instructions, it'd be pretty easy. Or just pay someone else to do it. That's what I used to do, but I like to save a bit of coin by doing this sort of stuff myself now. There you go. So, we'll move that way. This is going to come around the front of the battery. And this one. And then I'm going to pop it out through here, and that come in down in front of my intercooler behind the grill here, and pop out down there. Alright, just terminated the earth to the chassis like I said I always do, so I've just got to terminate it to the positive now. I don't have insulated tools, so whenever I'm working with batteries I always just wrap my spanner in electrical tape just to give it a barrier in case I short it between the positive terminal of the battery and something else. In the engine bay I've done it once, caused a nice big spark and a bit of a bang, scared the absolute crap out of me, so now I just give myself an insulation barrier. It's not perfect, but it works. It'd help if I had grabbed the right size. Okay, pre-taped from the last time I did this probably. Beauty. In theory, I can turn them on. That should be everything I need. Let's take these covers off. Like I said, I haven't done the daytime running lights yet, and these are just very loosely plugged in at the moment. I'll try to turn them. Let's go turn them on. There's a light on the switch, which is reassuring. Not seeing any flames. And the spotties are on. You ripper. I'll turn the high beam off and see if they turn off with the high beam. It's a good test to make sure I wired it in correctly. Sure enough, they're gone. Gotta love it when it works the first try. Absolutely stoked with that. Alright, I'm going to finish looming up these wiring. I'll tighten them, and then we'll go out tonight, line them up. I'll mark where the holes need to be. I reckon I could probably get it close, but I'll double check it, and then tomorrow I'll drill some new holes, put the extra bolts in, and we're done. God, they look good. I'm actually leaning towards leaving the orange on. Let me know in the comments what you reckon. I'll put the black on and you can give me a comparison, see what you reckon. Alright, still a couple of hours before I take them out and align them, but I've just swapped one of these over and put the black surround on instead of the orange. What do you reckon? It's not secure yet, but I'm so torn. I might secure it, leave it, take a step back, and see what we think, because I don't know, the orange kind of stands out, but I do like the subtle look of the black. Decisions. There you go, secure. I don't know, I'm leaning towards the black because of the sort of black and white theme I've got going on. But the orange is so bold. I don't know, I'll leave it, I'll think on it. Alright legends, it's been a little while, but I finally got around to wiring in the daytime running lights in the spotties. So in the spotties here, these little triangles on the outside, or funny shaped triangles on the outside, they're daytime running lights. Basically what I've done is I've tapped into the light that's down on my bull bar, through a little cable that runs along here, and then I've installed a new relay. So there's 12 volts running to that relay from the battery. Then there's a signal wire from the light on the bull bar, which then triggers the relay, which then sends the voltage to the spotties at the front. A little bit different to the way they say to wire it. They say to wire it straight to ignition. I've got it so now it comes on with my headlights, which is kind of cool. So I've just finished wiring it. Let's turn it on. I'm pretty confident it's going to work. Don't need to turn the key, but whatever. And there we go, there's the daytime running lights running now with just the headlights. Beautiful. So I'm just going to tidy this up. I have been using these spotties over the last like 2 months since I installed them, and I tell you what, they are brilliant. They just make my high beam look like candlelight. My only qualm with them is the bolts that they've provided have started to rust really quickly. So next time I swing by a Bunnings, I'm just going to replace them with some better steel bolts. But otherwise, these lights have been absolutely brilliant. So let's go give them a test run. So that's just my high beam and the daytime running lights on the front of the spotties. Let's turn these spotties on. What a difference. They just make my high beam look like candlelights. Yep, they work.